Okay, we looked at some key bindings for navigating code. Now we're going to look at some key bindings for changing code efficiently. I should mention this is by far not all of the key bindings that are available to you, but these are some of the key bindings that I find myself using the most often in the JetBrains editors. So let me open Android Studio here, and we'll start to go through these. Let me put the list right there. Great. So I'm going to get rid of all my menus over here. I don't want them. And get rid of that one. Get rid of this one. So you can see all my code. So the first one is going to be to duplicate a line. Suppose that I have to find a bunch of views by their ID, and I don't want to have to type this out every time. I can use Command D to duplicate a line. I can use Command Delete to get rid of a line. Command D to duplicate a line. Command Delete to get rid of a line. I can move a line around by getting onto the line and then doing Option Shift and using the up arrow or the down arrow to move it. Now, I should mention that Option Shift up and down is context independent. So it'll move a variable like right out of the scope that it's in. It doesn't care. So you need to be careful about the scope that you're moving lines to when you use this. You can also move a method. So I can put my cursor on this onCreateViewHolder method and hit Command Shift down, and it'll switch it with the next method down. So this is useful if I want to put like all my private methods at the bottom or something like that. Now this is not context independent. So this will preserve your scope of your methods. It's not just going to move your method wherever. Great. So suppose I wanted to move a class. I have this inner class and I don't want it to be an inner class anymore. Let's say I want it to be its own top level class or something. I can use F6 to move a class. And I can ask it to move it to a specific package if I want to. I can also pass the outer class's instance as a parameter, so I can invert control here and basically inject the outer class as a dependency to the inner class. And to do that, I would hit this refactor button. Okay, moving a file. So I'm going to go Command 1, and let's say that I wanted to move this mood entry SQLite DB helper test that I'm on. So the file that's selected is the one it's going to try to move. This one is also F6. So if I'm on a file and I hit F6, it moves the file. If I'm on a class and I hit F6, it moves the class. So here, once again, I get the option of what package I want to move it to, and I get some options for how I can move this file. So that's how I would move a file. Also, suppose that I wanted to start with a file with like some base code that I already have in another file. And so I want to copy that file. I can hit F5 to do that. So this is going to copy my mood entry SQLite database helper test, and it's going to use the exact same code from that database helper test in the new file. Cool. So those are some things that I might do to generate code. Now let's talk a little bit more about how to refactor some code. So one of the very first features that the JetBrains editors came out with was this little plugin that allowed you to rename variables efficiently. This is probably the key binding that I use the most. I put my cursor on a variable. It can be on any part of the variable. It can be on the declaration or it can be on a usage. And you hit Shift F6, and that's going to allow you to rename your variable. This will rename it everywhere, and the editor tends to be really good at identifying the right scope for renaming that variable. You can also use this to rename files. So suppose that I want to like change the name of a specific file. I can do Shift F6 and I get the opportunity to rename it. So Shift F6 is sort of your universal rename. Now, suppose that I have some code here and I want to make a variable out of it and I want to pass it as a variable into this select image for method. I can do that with Command Option V. Needs an expression, so I need to pick something that's like doesn't have too many parentheses. Command Option V, and that's going to extract my variable. Command Option is your like extract key binding in Android Studio. So now I have my variable mood here. I can undo it with Command Option N, inline variable. So Command Option V extracts the variable, and then Command Option N inlines the variable. So that's how I would extract or inline a variable. Now suppose I wanted to extract a method for some line of code. I want this line of code to be in its own method. Command Option M is how I would do that. I can name the method getThing. And now I have this method called getThing that returns the object. Once again, the editor is relatively smart about knowing what's going to need to be passed in order to make that happen. I'm going to use Command Z to undo that right there. So I can extract a variable, I can extract a method, but once again, Command Option is your extract, and then it's usually the first letter of whatever you're extracting. Command Option V extracts a variable. Command Option M extracts a method. Command Option P extracts a parameter. There are a few more like that. You can check out what they are by right-clicking and going to Refactor in this menu. You can see some of your refactoring options. There's an extract one that tells you all the things you can extract: variable, property, parameter, functional parameter, function, function to scope, type alias, and you can see what the key bindings are right here. This one's Command Option V, Command Option F, Command Option P, so on and so forth. So one way to learn some of these refactoring key bindings is to look at the menu where you can get to the refactors and then check out the key bindings that are listed over here on the right.